Alright guys, welcome to the channel. Tonight I'd like to do something a little different I haven't done before. I'm going to do a little November recap. Basically this whole month I fished on the Duck River Reservoir here in north central Alabama. Pretty much stayed on that one body of water, I'm pretty sure, most of the month. And it started out pretty good. Decent sized fish were being caught. 15, 16, 17, 18-inch fish. But as the month progressed, cold front after cold front after cold front pushed through, the bite went away a little more with each passing front. Started out with a decent spinnerbait bite and crankbait bite. Started good like that, but by the end of the month I was down to a drop shot, trying to just get bites and figure out where the fish had gone. We did find out where the fish had gone and how to find them by the end of the month, but they had definitely moved off and were much deeper. Now early in the month, when the bite was still pretty good, my spinnerbait bite, which was kind of a shock that I still had a decent spinnerbait bite, it came kind of by accident. A buddy of mine caught some schooling, and I decided I would throw the spinnerbait a little bit, and one thing led to another, and I found that there were concentrations in certain pockets, backs of pockets, that held some good, pretty decent fish. And that held up the next day that I had gone, 2 days in a row, and still finding fish. And I'm gonna jump over to the Navionics screen, show you some of these areas and what I was looking for, and then what didn't work, all in the same day. Bear in mind, all these pockets and points and everything I'm going to show you, I fished all these in the same day, and I didn't realize the pattern truly until maybe a week after. It just did not click in my head, but now that I look back on it, it was pretty clear. So let's head over to the Navionics screen. I'll show you what I'm talking about. Alright guys, here we have the Duck River Reservoir. And I'm going to start with where, I'm going to zoom in on the area where I first kind of got the spinnerbait on my mind and thought, man, have I been missing out on something? Because my buddy Terry let me know that some fish schooled up on him. He put a spinnerbait out there with him and caught one, maybe two, I'm not sure. I know he caught one, and the fish went down. He didn't get any more bites, but man, catching a fish on a spinnerbait's my favorite thing to do. So it got me thinking, maybe I could find some of these spinnerbait fish. And while we were up in this area here, fish actually schooled up on me, and sure enough, I put my spinnerbait out in them and put a pretty decent fish in the boat. Our day was getting short. It was getting on toward dark while we were up in this area, so I decided, hey man, on my way back to the ramp, which I had to go all the way back to the other end of the lake to the dam to take out, I started working this bank right down through here. And as I got on down the bank, got to the first little pocket, pocket had some wood laydowns in it. Bam, I caught me another decent fish. That was 2 decent fish in probably within an hour. Better than I had done most of the day. So man, 2 fish within an hour. The other fish were tiny little fish that hadn't done very well. So I head on down this bank, working that spinnerbait, just working it, and I got to another. It's hard to tell exactly. I think the little indention that I'm looking for is about right in here. I found some more wood or some more timber in the water, a little indention in the bank, and bam, I got a third fish, which was my 3 biggest fish so far of the day. And I knew I had to be heading on back, so I really couldn't work the entire bank. So I headed on back and ended up all the way back down to the dam to take out. That ended that day, but man, I had spinnerbaiting on my mind. So next day, we'll cut to the chase. I start back here at the dam, and I run back up in Henderson Creek, and I start back in these pockets, looking for wood and timber and brush, throwing around all the way in the back. And then I start working a couple pockets. Didn't really find the wood and the timber that I was hoping for. Somewhere down, right, I think in this area here, I got to another little pocket in the bank. Had the right looking stuff, and bam, put another decent fish in the boat. Worked my way down, and nothing. Absolutely nothing until I got back in the pocket up in here. I don't think this was the exact pocket my next fish came off of. So I worked on down, back in another pocket, found the wood, and you got to remember this water's been dropping and dropping and dropping. A lot of our pockets that would have wood, say up in the spring, they don't have any wood right now. All that wood's high and dry. So when I came across the right timber, the right brush, the right depth, I found fish. Moved on down, and that pattern stayed true. I think I got down to these last couple of big pockets. I think the brush that I was looking for in there, I think was already out of the water. I don't think I got any bites. Skipped across Henderson and started working on these pockets, and nothing doing on this side. Worked all the way down the bank, all the way back, got back in this pocket here, and I'm pretty sure up in here I picked up a little small bass, and that was pretty much it for Henderson Branch and my spinnerbait bite for the day. And what I didn't realize at the time that I did realize later, a day or two later, 4 or 5, I'm not sure exactly, but what I should have done was come on out of here and got back over on these other pockets and fished the north facing, or the north side of these pockets. The north side is where all my bites had came from the day before, and this was the productive area. I believe they're protected from the early cold fronts that push through the north, and if they've got the right timber, these fish they've been on wood for a while now. They still had wood at the right depth. This is where I should have been, north side. I'm not sure about up in here. Don't know if the right timber. I didn't go back up in here and check. But man, when I realized that, I said, man, that was a pattern I could have worked, and went all the way back up that lake working. It just didn't hit me while I was on the water. But hey, this time next year, November rolls around, from the 1st of November or even the last of October until they will absolutely not bite a spinnerbait again, I will be searching these pockets, these north protected pockets. That's what I'll be looking for. When those first cold fronts start coming through, I want to be the most protected water, and I'll be hitting those, and I'll be looking for the timber that's whatever depth we can find them. You can run down the lake and mimic that and put more fish in the boat. But anyway, that was the pattern I realized that was working at that time. Another couple of cold fronts came through. The water dropped a little more in a few days, and that pattern went away. The fish have now moved out deep. They are located in, oh God, 15, anywhere from 15 to 25, 30, 40 feet of water. more in the 25 to 30 feet of water. So let's hop off of here. We'll talk about the rest of what I've been doing the last couple of weeks in November, and I'll explain how I finished it up. All right, guys. When the spinnerbait bite, when I realized that it was pretty much done, the cold front, they kept coming through, and I resorted back to one of my most favorite finesse techniques, one of my favorite techniques since I've learned it several years ago. Went back to the drop shot. I know you can't imagine me, you guys that follow me can't imagine I've gone to the drop shot, but it's favorite for a reason, because you get bites. You get bites with it because you can throw that little worm or smaller baits or whatever. You can throw bigger baits on it. You can throw an 8-inch worm on it if you want to. I choose to use it for my finesse technique. It works. And on those tough, cold, late fall days or winter days when you're struggling for a bite, the drop shot will come through. You got to get it in the right place. Now, what I found was that the north side of all my pockets, they were still okay, some of them, but there were fish in other places as well. The main lake points, in between the main lake points, in the big areas had fish, but you had to be at the right depth, and those fish, as each front came through, it just solidified the deep water bite. That's something that I'm still learning, but I'm realizing that, man, once you get a hang of that deep water bite, you don't have to throw the drop shot. You throw a regular jig, rip it up off the bottom, let it fall back down, let it sit there for a little while, rip it off again. A shaky head, a regular Texas rig worm. In the places these fish are right now, they are in the treetops. They're in the timber, they're in the wood. And when you get a bite, you don't need to take off down the lake and go to your next spot. Fish that area thoroughly, because there will be a concentration of fish there. There's not just one. Usually there's going to be a group, a whole school, possibly a big school. Look for the bait fish if you're using electronics. Look for the timber that has bait fish around it, and you're going to find the bass. Probably going to be some crappie mixed in with them. But that's how my November's been. It started out pretty good in the beginning. It got tougher. We figured out that spinnerbait thing. That lasted 2, 3, 4 days. Then it faded out, and we went to the finesse stuff. Other guys throwing the blade baits, which I have not done yet. Got some friends doing it right now, and they're having success catching good fish. A regular jig and peg, jig and trailer, you can work those same areas, get that bait on the bottom around those trees, rip it up off the bottom, let it fall. You don't necessarily have to make a long cast. You can fish vertical. You can get stationary out on those points or wherever you find that deep timber. You can get it in those limbs, rip it up, let it flutter back down, and you are going to get bit, and you're going to catch some of those big fish that have been kind of missing this fall. And I hope some of you will remember this video, come back to it next year. All of my videos they're pretty close to whatever time I put them out. That's what I'm doing. I don't hold things back for a month or two to try to sandbag for anybody. I put them out in a pretty timely manner, so you can go back and reference them all the way next year. Come back, see what I've done, see what I was doing. I even do it myself. And I hope this has been, informative. That's the idea. I'm going to get out of here. I think this is a lot of talking. Some of you probably done gone. I hope not, but it's a lot of talking, but I hope I put some good information out. I'll see you guys next week, and above all, be safe out on the water. And if you see me out on the water, come say hi. I never mind, and I'm always willing to talk fishing. We'll catch you next time.